Hello, welcome to part 52 of this Airbnb Clone Ruby on Rails series. And in this video, we'll implement this reserve functionality. So let's have a look at this property on Airbnb website and try to book this. Okay, so it shows us all the details which we have already set on the previous page for confirmation. And it shows us payment details, cancellation policy, ground rules and all. Okay, great. And from finally, once we have added these details, I think we can make the payment and request to book. Okay. So what we will do is we'll first break it into multiple parts. First, we'll click on this and route to another page. Once that gets done, we'll show some details on that page. Once that gets done, we'll pass details with this page. Okay, because we will have to pass check-in and check-out details, right? If you see this in Airbnb, in header it is passing number of adults, number of children. We don't have these details, but it does have check-in details. Let me scroll it a bit. Check-in details, check-out details. So we'll pass those details, okay, which are important to us. And we won't pass price because in any way we will have to recalculate it and check, cross-verify that it is correct or not. So let's do this. All our information about check-in and check-out is in show our UI also as well as JavaScript also, but it's convenient to move from JavaScript to that particular URL. So what we'll do is we'll create a method reserve property, okay, and we'll call this here in our reserve function, reserve button. We'll call this data action. We'll first have to mention the action followed by our controller name, which is booking, followed by the function name, which is reserve property. And because it's a click action on a button, we'll catch this event also. Okay, now let's do one simple thing. Turbo.visit to visit a particular URL. We are using turbo from Hotwire framework, and /example. We just have to mention the relative URL here. I'm writing some random URL because even if it doesn't exist, at least the browser will redirect to it. Okay, and if it works, then we will create a correct URL and go to that also. Refresh, click, and we can see it has visited example. So now we will have to create a correct path, correct URL, correct route. So for that, whenever you want to create a new page with correct URL, you have to do three things. One is create a controller, Rails controller, not the JavaScript controller. Second, create a view, the things you will display on the page. And third, create a route, the URL using which you want to visit it. So what we'll do is we'll create a route first. Let's create it using this. I am naming it as bookings, and it will be a new booking. So let's use new. Let's check this route, Rails routes -c bookings, because we have named it bookings. Enter, and we can see we'll get the path as whatever our domain name is, in this case localhost 3000/booking/new, but it doesn't look good. What I want is I want property details also. So for that, we can wrap this within property. And it makes sense because if there is no property, there is always a property tied to booking. This will ensure that there is always a property tied to booking, which is a better implementation. In this case, let's do this again. And we can see the route has changed. It has /property/property ID. So it is tied to a property, /booking/new. So now let's try to use this. First we'll test it in browser, and instead of property ID we'll write, let's say, 2. Uninitialized booking controller. Okay, we will have to create bookings controller. So let's go to our I did mention it, right? 3 things. One is routes, which we have done. Second, we'll create a controller, new file, bookings underscore controller dot rb, create a class for bookings controller, application controller, and in that the controller name is, let me check, it's new, action name is new. So we'll create a new action, definition new, and now let's refresh, and template is missing. So third thing, which is the view. So for that we'll go to views, create a new folder, name it as bookings, similar to our controller, create a new file, new .html.erb, similar to our action, and in this I'll write bookings. Refresh, and it's working. So now we just have to redirect to this correctly. So for that, now notice this URL is variable, and it's variable because it depends upon property ID, and we have this prefix which we can use in Rails. So what we will do is understand this and then implement this functionality. We'll go to our show, add a new data sorry, reserve property URL, and in this I can use this new property booking followed by path, underscore path, we have to mention it. And in this depends upon property ID, so we will have to pass at that property. So now what we can do is we can get this URL in our bookings controller of JavaScript. Const base URL is equals to e dot target dot dataset dot reserve property URL, reserve property URL. Here we will have to mention it U capital only, other than that nothing else. Let's try this. Sorry. Refresh, click, and now we can see /2/booking/new. Okay, so a lot of work has been done. Now we have to pass details like this, and these are called query parameters. Okay, so what we can do is we just need to pass check-in and checkout date, because from user we are taking only these two inputs, check-in and checkout date. So what we will do is const params data check-in date. For now I'll just hard code this 20/02/2024, and checkout date, and we have to build it as a URL. So for that we can use something called const params URL. I think build query URL in JavaScript with params. I think we can use URL search params or URL param search, something like this. URL search params. We have this data, create a URL search params, and then toString. So it will give us something like this. Great, let's try this. Params data, no, new URL search params, this toString also, dot toString. It should work. Refresh, go to Airbnb, go to any property, property 2 and reserve slash booking slash news function. Why is it showing function? We have this check-in checkout date, but question mark is missing, which creates those parameters, right? So I think we will have to hard code this here. You can use stringpolation from interpolation, I think. Let me check this. Interpolation from JavaScript also, the insertion of something. Yes, you can do it like this, I think. We have done it at multiple locations. Yes, base URL followed by this question mark followed by second variable, which is this. Go back, refresh, click on this and bookings. Great. So now what we have to do is we can get the property ID, we can get the property, we can get the check-in details and checkout details, and then we can show all the details here. How? From property ID we can show these details. From check-in and checkout details we can show this. We are not keeping count of guests. From this we can calculate number of nights, and finally from number of nights we can make this booking. So I think it's almost good. I might have missed something, but I don't think I have missed anything important in terms of learning. So that's it for now. In next we will implement this page. Okay, thank you, bye bye.